Yeah, we'll move on to the hurling anyway, and I suppose we'll start with Division 1A. I suppose Tipperary with a victory or with a draw with Cork. Tipperary with 22 points, Cork with 216. I suppose, yeah, I mean Cork definitely look quite bright in many ways. Like their forwards are very dynamic, getting forward, all the rest. Very good team. Team O'Mahony, O'Mahony, of course, in the midfield, very bright. But what have you made of Cork so far?
Um, yeah, Cork are properly going at it, and obviously, Tipperary the clawed back. Like I'm sure they were a wee bit disappointed that they never were able to see it out. Like, but definitely, I feel they're finally, as I talk about, second season, give your manager time. You're going to see your results and the rewards will be reaped. And finally, that's what you get for backing a long term project. And I'm very happy to see it all working out for Cork, and I'm very, very ambitious so far, and they might even top one A now, just with Limerick obviously falling to the Galway, and we'll touch on that later. Like, but obviously, and it's people talk about different tactics always, but look, it's good to see the game of hurling finally evolving, and it's finally taking the next step forward, and so yeah, fantastic one for Cork, and I'm sure they'll be there. Like, but Tipperary getting two draws against two top teams, and don't think they can be ruled out, and I'm sure next week they'll get a win. Like, and I definitely think you should never sleep on Tipperary in any campaign unless they're defending in All Ireland.
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose because it definitely like I suppose when it comes to defending All Ireland, it definitely seems to be an issue for them. And obviously they're trying a couple of different things out. They're trying to get the McGraths back up to full speed, and we haven't seen Shamie Callanan come into the side yet as well. So still a long way to go for Tipperary. Two draws, probably not the worst results in the world, but I suppose, like, obviously looking at the next game, obviously with Waterford, I mean, they got a 3-point win over Westmeath, 122 to 119. I was looking at Waterford's team, and it was a completely revamped team. They made 12 changes. So whilst a lot of people are probably being a little bit critical of Waterford, I think the story here has to be about Westmeath and the performance they gave in this game, because Killian Doyle coming back from England, back in the team, I mean, phenomenal performance from him altogether.
Absolutely, and I was saying, they were going to have that hangover from that near miss, and they might even get relegated, and maybe I probably should have predicted Westmeath at the same time, like, but still, I don't think I'm going to be far off whatever happens, and Waterford are still seeing it there, like, and I think that's the biggest weakness Waterford have compared to all the other so-called top counties is that they maybe can never build consistency, which is a little bit worrying, and I think that maybe is why they have waited. So the wait goes on for an All Ireland because usually All Irelands come to counties, after a few years of good consistent performances, they eventually get that All Ireland. But for Waterford, their little hit and miss form doesn't bode well. Like, but look, I'm sure Liam Cahill still has a plan, and I'm sure they might just be okay. Like, but Westmeath ambitious, people there are some I don't want to be disrespectful to some people, but some clowns, let's say, after their 30-point loss between the standard of hurling, all these one-sided games, like, Westmeath earned the right to be in Division 1, and they went through the divisions and they earned the right, and they're definitely performing, and it should be very, very interesting how they get on. Like, now they might not get a single point, like, but they're absolutely ambitious, and I'm sure if they go down to Division 2 next year, they should have absolutely zero problem coming back up, like, and Kelly and Doyle, one of the best hurdlers in the country, and definitely a strong performance from them. Like, and they scored 116 against Galway as well. Like, so, and that, against any county, that's quite well. Like, people just look about how much they conceded, but look at the glass half full, look at how much they score. Or if I was looking how much they were scoring, I'd be ambitious if I was a Westmeath fan, and it's hard to see past anyone but them winning the Joe McDonagh Cup this year.
Yeah, they're in a good position. I probably wouldn't have them as the favourites now to win the Joe McDonagh. We'll probably get on to Offaly in a moment because they're looking like a serious team at the moment. But I suppose, yeah, like what you said, where a lot of people being very critical of not necessarily of Westmeath, but maybe with the fact that they were in Division 1A. Like, I suppose you have to remember that they earned the right to be there. Like, they won their relegation playoff last year. And even last year in the league, like when you look through a lot of them results, they were actually fairly competitive. Like I think Cork only beat them by 1 or 2 points. The Limerick game was quite close. So like they've earned the right to be there. And I suppose for Waterford, I mean, this was just a case of really trying different things out, trying different players out. I suppose probably not a whole lot to look into for Waterford in this game.
Yeah, absolutely, Aaron. I think it was a proper ambitious performance from Waterford. I'm sure they really enjoyed the but look, I think they'll be back. Like, but at this stage, I think it's about putting contingency plans in place to make sure maybe they don't get relegated. Because what's going to stop Westmeath from getting a draw against someone else, like or whatnot, like and. I just think Waterford are going to get there's an order of each, and they still have some of the best forwards in the country. So I'm not ruling anything out. Like, but I just think they need to get over that hangover quickly, or it's going to be a really rough ride for them.
100%, yeah. And I suppose for Galway, they got a big win over Limerick, 26 points to 117. I suppose Limerick's first defeat, obviously, since the 2019 semi-final against Kilkenny. I suppose it is just the league, but it's a big win for Galway. Like, we'll have to see how the championship goes, but I suppose that probably reiterates what a lot of people are saying at the moment, that Galway are probably the closest team to ending Limerick's reign, I suppose, as the best team in the country at the moment in hurling.
Yeah, the way they absolutely cruised through the championship without scoring a goal, I don't think we'll ever see a hurling team like that again. Without scoring goals in the whole defensive thing there, and and they got so desperate they actually decided to score a goal, which was a bit strange, and see if that works. But no, it didn't work. The idea of score goals, no, it didn't. And yeah, it's strange, and I'm sure if you told Limerick fans before the games they'd break their barren streak of winning a goal, they'd probably think it was some kind of an ambitious performance against Galway. But no, look, obviously, ever since that rules was brought in at Congress, about the whole idea of black cards, there were a few tackles Limerick were getting away with last season, and it probably prompted calls to bring in the black card in hurling, and it's been proven right. It is going to swashbuckle Limerick, and it's still there in championship time. Sam Maguire might have a new home elsewhere, and I just feel, I don't believe, rules should be brought in, but there's just a few tackles they were kind of getting away with last year that maybe, but look, I'm sure John Kiley's an intelligent hurling man. I'm sure they'll weather through it, and we'll see how it goes. But it just disrupts the speed of the game. Personally, I would have actually been in favour of it because I thought, it would have actually put manners on some teams like Limerick getting away with it. But looking at it now, I just the reason why we like hurling, is that it's built on speed, and football and hurling shouldn't be treated the same. They're two completely different sports, same organization, and it's great and all the rest, but should be different rules. It's just it's been crazy.
Yeah, no, I do think it was bringing the black card in was the right decision, or the sin bin, I should say, because obviously there is going to be cynical foul, and they do need to clamp down on it. But yeah, definitely all the soft frees at the moment, and and even the rule as well, where they're giving penalties, outside the square and everything else. It's not, hurling's just not really in the best place at the moment. And even in the Laois and Dublin game, which we'll get on to now, I watched some of that game in Division 1B. It was Laois 119, Dublin 31 points. But I don't know, I nearly felt like watching, a bit like if you've ever watched American football, it's just stop, start. And this is what this game felt like. It was just an exhibition that Donald Burke was hitting frees one end and Laois were hitting frees the other end. And in the end, it was Dublin who came out on top.
Yeah, that once a year opportunity. You actually stay up to watch the Super Bowl, but you don't even last two quarters. It's it sounds like that kind of a game. But still, I think it was a very good. I'm sure Dublin were happy to get the one. And obviously, there's still a bit of a shockwave going through the county after 2019. And they're still getting 1-0, and Cheddar Plunkett's still a very smart man when it comes to hurling. And I'm sure. They're not going to give up of a fight, and they got that goal, and it was still a narrow enough loss in hurling terms, but still Dublin really, really were performed well, and I'm sure, after, narrowly losing out to Kilkenny, which feels like it happens a lot with Dublin and Kilkenny.
Yeah, but I
Ever
watched that
since.
game about 100 times now at this stage.
But still, it was a very good. I'm sure, it gives Dublin that confidence streak, and I believe, they'll see Clare as a winnable game, but Antrim, no, can't see. I say it'd be a league and championship double for Antrim. I'm sure as a Dublin
You
fan,
think
you
so?
should
You
be
think
panicking.
Antrim are going to beat us?
Yeah, like, maybe I'm biased, because it's the first time. I am a Donegal man, but like, to put it honest, like, a lot of times in the past, like, hurling games didn't mean no odds to me. Like, but if Antrim to see a fellow Ulster team doing so well, like, I'll always be rooting for them. And I'd definitely be maybe a wee bit biased towards them, but still, I still think it's going to be a double for Antrim. And I'm sure Dublin, they're like, they're a much better team than like Galicia 2 years ago, and there's a few other teams. I think, it's Dublin probably. I just can't see them getting over it, but maybe a good run for the qualifiers. But yeah.
Yeah, well, I suppose with Antrim at the moment, like they have looked very good in the league. Like obviously getting that win over Clare, they were beaten 128 to 315 by Kilkenny, a 7-point defeat, and even in that game as well, like there was a couple of moments where it looked like they were going to turn the tide. Like you had that situation where they scored 2 goals back to back in very quick succession with Kieran Clark and Conor McCann as well. And I suppose, they certainly gave Kilkenny a run for their money. Like obviously there was no TJ Reid in there, but I suppose it was definitely a close game. Like the scoreline probably flattered Kilkenny, I think, in many ways.
Yeah, up until the last 15 minutes, it was a damn competitive game, but fair play to Kilkenny. They didn't underestimate them, they didn't make an excuse, and they put 315 past Kilkenny, putting any team puts that past Kilkenny, that's an impressive performance. And most days that would actually beat Kilkenny. So, like, I think, Antrim could travel back to, the northeast with their head held high, and I actually, feel they been in 1B, they just have that wee bit easier. That was, I think, was the one boogie game, but the rest of the campaign, it's not out of reach. Like, they can easily beat not easily beat any teams, but I wouldn't rule out them beating any of the other teams that play their hurling in Division 1B. I definitely feel, that's there. And, it's Darren Gleason's first competitive loss as manager. Obviously, they brought a top setup there, like, and I'm sure that they're like, and, they might even make a a little squeeze into, the next beyond the league, into maybe the and between the championship. Yeah, but yeah, whatever. We see, like, and I'm sure they're at Sterling. It's a brilliant experience for them. So, like, it's definitely a brilliant one for them. It's going to stand strong to them for about 5 years.
Yeah, I suppose like with Antrim, like I'm definitely, as a Dublin fan, I definitely am a bit worried. I'm not going to lie, because obviously Dublin are certainly making a lot of changes to their team at the moment, some retirements and whatnot. And we don't seem, other than Donald Burke, we just don't seem to quite have the same impetus around the field. And at this moment in time, like I think Antrim might win the league game, but I don't know. I'd be very worried now if Dublin lost to Antrim. I think it'd be a bit of a disaster, and that's no disrespect to Antrim, but I just think for Dublin hurling and for the progression that we've made over the past couple of years, I'd like to think we'd win that game, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens when it definitely comes around. I suppose the Clare and Wexford game, Wexford won this one 219 to 121. It was a close game throughout, but in the end, Wexford with a late fight back, of course. Late on,
Yeah.
Rory O'Connor getting on the score sheet, and I suppose Davy Fitz gets one over the Brian Lohan and the whole the Clare saga at the moment.
Yeah, look, I'm not too up to date. I'm sure there's things behind the scenes, even the Clare players and management don't even know about. Like, but I'm sure, like, I'm not gonna throw them under the bus after 2 games. They're still a very, very strong team. Tony Kelly, for as midfielders go, like, he's probably the best in that position in hurling. Like, and I'm sure they'll go on. Like, but as I say, oh, they didn't. But talking about well-run county boards, Wexford done well. A lot of people, and even like Larry O'Gorman, who I had on the podcast, former Wexford, were kind of, wanting to give the bit to Davy Fitzgerald, but no, they give him confidence there, and we're finally reaping their rewards. Now it's only the league, Laois and Clare, they're not up to the standard of Kilkenny, no, and maybe not maybe not, probably not even up to the standard of Antrim or Dublin either at this stage of the game. But I still feel, that's going to be a really, really strong um, success for them. And I just feel, there's big ambitions moving forward, and I just, yeah, look, there's a reason Davy Fitz was kept on, and they're on the other side of the draw and kind of like the Leinster Championship, without the Galway side, who are probably the favourites to win it. Like, so it can definitely be a good year for Wexford, and yeah, look, maybe even squeeze into an All Ireland final or semi final this year. But look, I'm sure they're ambitious about it, and a really good one for Wexford, when they might even top Division 1B.
Yeah, well, I suppose, I suppose with Wexford, I think it's quite ridiculous and short-sighted in many ways for people to be saying that Davy Fitz should get the boot, like especially after what he's achieved in the game, like winning a Leinster title with Wexford, and even in the past winning an All Ireland with Clare as well. So, I think for Wexford people and Wexford fans, like they need to get behind them, and they need to get behind that Wexford team, because they have the talent there with Rory O'Connor, Lee Chin, a few other players as well. And look, I know their style isn't the best style to play in the world, but definitely I suppose a real potential for Wexford to cause a shock or two. I suppose we'll run through some of the other games just in Division 2A. I suppose first of all, like a huge win for Down, 320 to 318 over Carlow. I mean, you might know more about Down hurling, obviously being an Ulster man and all that, but I suppose I didn't see that one coming anyways.
Yeah, I wouldn't have predicted. I definitely would have backed Carlo, but I wasn't surprised, if you know what I mean. Kind of like, I feel like it would have been a kind of 60-40 sort of a game. But I just feel, I was watching the game of them playing Kerry, I really was. When I bought the stream, and Down looked proper ambitious, in the first half there. But Kerry flattened them, and I feel Down would be a wee bit embarrassed if it went like. But they and I'm being honest, the standard in Division 2B isn't actually the strongest in the world, and considering Mayo went up to Division 2 last year, and it didn't really work out for them. They were kind of well found out. People always have low expenses of the county, but there's a few hurlers, and Paul Sheehan, probably the best hurler in Ulster. He's such a free scoring monster of a forward, but still strong performance. And I say they'll survive, probably not one in there, but I don't think Carlow of new management, and just where when most of it's over Zoom, it's very hard to maybe get out from Gabbard. Like, so I'm not really gonna throw Carlow under the bus. Like, I feel like Mickey Hart talked about his last year. Tyrone is a bit of a lost year, and I feel for a lot of coaches this is a sort of lost year. At the same time, it hasn't even finished yet, but I do feel that way.
Yeah. Well, I suppose Paul Sheehan, like he scored 1-8 for Down in that game versus Carlow, and a top class hurler. Like, I suppose, like, would you even have him better than Neil McManus and I suppose some of the Antrim lads? Because definitely, I suppose putting him as the best hurler in Ulster, I suppose, over some of the Antrim lads, definitely quite a statement.
Yeah, it's a bold statement, and I do want to say that, like, but yeah, look, that's it. We really got our act to get. They got their act together against the Kerry game. They wanted. I say they learned a lot about it. And they've got a lot of experience here. But Paul Sheehan, it's probably easier to judge him, considering he's more of an individual performer compared to a lot of the team around him. While a lot Antrim are a bit more of a team, even though they've Neil McManus, they're still a bit more of a unit. He's a brilliant hurler that would probably get into any team in the country, but still, he's there's just so much good players around him. It's probably easier to judge him that way. Like, but still a good performance for Down, and I'm sure there'll be big games coming up, especially with the likes of Offaly, and Leaf as well, like two strong enough teams.
Yeah, I suppose like I agree with you that Paul Sheehan's definitely a top hurler, but I definitely wouldn't put him ahead of Neil McManus or Conor McCann or some of the other Antrim lads. Not at this time, anyways. But we'll see, I suppose, how Down can get on over the next while. We'll touch on Offaly's win over Kerry. Like, it definitely has to be mentioned. 228 to 13 points. I suppose maybe the good days are back for Offaly. Like, you'd Liam Langton in there with 1-6. So they're and they beat Meath quite comfortably last week as well. So I mean, they're looking like some team at the moment.
Yeah, look, they're a really good team. Most of the country saying they are on the up, like, but awfully people are just kind of like, what odds Division 2A? Like, it's they shouldn't be there. You know, they always find, some of them are saying, the fact Offaly and Kerry are playing in a hurling game against each other is a bit of an embarrassment. And I would have, if the GAA got their act together, I would have, with the promotion last year, I would have liked the idea of maybe Donegal getting hammered Offaly, but the fact we played them in a match would have been interesting in the Christy Ring Cup. Like, still, it's an ambitious cycle for Offaly, and I just feel it's a good one for them. And it's definitely, look, I think, Michael Fenley's got a second season there, like, and as I say again, it's that second season seems to be the real good time for these GAA managers. As I've pointed out multiple times again, they've been fully backed out, and I just feel, and it's going to look well for Michael Fenley, and he might even become the next Kilkenny coach once Brian Cody goes his separate ways.
Yeah, he'll definitely be in the running, all right. I suppose him and maybe Henry Shefflin even as well. Like, he's done a lot of work with Ballyhale Shamrock, so definitely in consideration. I suppose obviously Meath, they beat Wicklow quite comfortably in the other game, but I suppose looking through Division 2B, Kildare, I mean, they obviously gave your Donegal a bit of an absolute hockey in 429 to 14 points. I actually watched about 40 minutes of this game because it was on at 1 o'clock.
Yeah,
and it was streamed on YouTube. Yeah, so I decided why not to give it a go. But I mean, Kildare outside bet maybe for the Joe McDonough. I mean, they're looking very good at the moment.
Yeah, look, Kildare are the Christy Ring Cup champions, and we are the Nicky Racker champions. Like, so it's a bit like, it's a bit like expecting Norwich to be competitive with Man City next season. It's a big ask, but still, we've seen Roscommon and Derry, and maybe even Mayo, because we proved that in the Nicky Racker Cup as the winnable games. Like, nobody within Donegal really thought we were gonna be able to get past Kildare, like, because obviously, they've been really, really knocking on the door of maybe breaking into the Joe McDonough Cup in years, like, and obviously winning the Christy Ring Cup last year was a big occasion for the county, and definitely an ambitious team there, like, but look, they blew us out of the absolute water, and it was the same starting 15 that played against Roscommon, but look, I think between now and maybe getting then to I think it's maybe get a point against Derry or Mayo, and then hope maybe to clinch survival somehow or another from Division 2B. We don't want the reputation of being a yo-yo team. 3 or 4 years ago, it's probably the best achievement in our recent history to stay up in Division 2B. Like, I can't see us becoming a Division 2A team, within the next 5 or 6 years. But definitely, I think get that thing going. Like, and a lot of our team are very old. Like, it feels, that it was a lot of last chance saloon for there. But frankly, we've had no retirements and experiences there. Like, but look, Donegal are going to probably put up a better performance against the other teams, let's say, in Division 2B.
Yeah, I suppose, for Kildare, like, it was definitely a top-class performance. They're definitely a team to keep an eye on, without doubt, like a team definitely to cause a shock maybe this year in hurling. Like, you'd James Burke with 2 goals, Johnny Byrne with a goal as well, Brian Byrne with 10 points. I suppose just some of the other results, I'll just run through them quickly. Like, Mayo beat Roscommon 120 to 119, and there was also wins there for Armagh, Tyrone as well. And then in 3B, there was wins for Cavan and Louth. So I suppose congratulations to them counties for a win. I suppose we'll run through my hurling team of the week here. So for those watching, they'll see it on screen now. So I suppose Patrick Collins, I had him in goal for Cork. You'd Cathal Dervin in there for Kildare in the full back line, Jared Walsh from Antrim, Andrew Dunphy for Dublin, the halfback line was Aidan McCarthy for Clare, Mark Coleman of Cork, and Killian Sampson of Offaly. Midfield was Cathal Mannion of Galway, Tim O'Mahony of Cork, and then in the half forward line you had Paul Sheehan of Down, Lee Chin of Wexford, and Evan Nyland of Galway. And then the full forward line, you had Patrick Horgan of Cork, Liam Langton of Offaly, and Killian Doyle of Westmeath. So I suppose a lot of different players in there. I tried to kind of mix it up, maybe put a few Joe McDonough and a few a few other kind of types of players in there as well. Make sure it doesn't just stick with the Division 1 format that a lot of people would normally go with.
Yeah. A lot of people, will keep up with maybe just hurling out of Super 1, and maybe, look, it's almost like, it's the gap in hurling can be a little bit worrying. Not that I exactly oppose the tiered system, because I don't want to be getting hammered every weekend, but still, it's still there's that gap in hurling, but still, it's absolutely brilliant that some of these teams are, and I can't really question much of them, for getting in there. I think absolutely everybody put in a good performance that weekend. I can't really think of there, because it's definitely a very, very ambitious performance, because you've tried to include everybody from so-called top teams there, and I don't think it can really be forgotten. But and you're still including as I see here Claire player, when they're still losing, so a lot of people are turning up their noses there, so I actually don't have any arguments out of all these kind of team of the week things I see. I don't, it's the best.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Well, I suppose Aidan McCarthy had a really good game for Clare. He scored 1-6 from wing back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was their top scorer on the pitch. He was scoring more than their forwards after Tony Kelly went off injured. So that's what he got in there. And they're obviously for some honourable mentions. I suppose the Kildare lads, I just mentioned, could have easily gotten there. Maybe some more of the down lads like Dahi Sands or Chris Egan. Maybe some of the Antrim lads like Kieran Clark, Conor McCann, Rory O'Connor, even of Wexford as well, Donald Burke. So much players all across the country, and obviously, we can't watch every single game, so it's very hard to you can kind of only go off the games you watched. But I suppose in the end, that was the team of the week. I suppose, look, listen, Patrick, cheers anyway for coming on the podcast. I'll link down GAA Zone media down below for anyone to check it out.
We're planning to be back in June, for anyone's noticing there. It's very tough being a student and running these kind of things. But definitely, hopefully, June, give or take, should roughly be roughly in the first week or two. Hopefully, we'll get something going.
100%, yeah. No bother at all. Well, yeah. Cheers for coming on.